Hey, my name's Jake Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the alarming increase in rents that we're expecting over the next few months. We've got some data in this video that's going to talk about how much the rental market is shrinking. And when we tell you what we're comparing it to, it will really shock you, I think, when you really understand what's happening. So this video, I think, is important if you're a tenant. I think you need to understand what's happening in the market. If you're a landlord, I think you need to understand what's going on in the market as well. And the rest of you, if you don't fall into those categories, I think it's just useful to know just how bad the rental market could get over the next few years. Now, if you're new around here and you haven't done already, before we jump into this, please do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We have all the latest property news, house price news, interest rate news, property investing news, and much, much more. And if you can help me get some views on this video, your part is simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really has helped the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So, what's going on? Well, this has been something that is inevitable. Rents are likely to start really going up now. And we've talked on this channel about the fact that landlords have been leaving in record numbers. 25 to 30% of landlords quit over the last few years. We've had various different data sources. For example, HMRC did some surveys. You had different agents that did surveys. You had Rightmove and Zoopla doing surveys, and they all varied, and they went from 50% of landlords considering quitting or downsizing their portfolio, all the way up to as much as 80% considering leaving the market. Now, that's not good. You might think, well, get rid of these landlords. They're not great people. They're unfair to tenants and stuff like that. But I don't think that's true. I think a lot of landlords are very good, and there's a small minority of landlords that aren't good people, and that hopefully gets them out of the market. But you don't want to push the good landlords out the market, because then you shrink the rental stock, and that's what's happening at the moment. In fact, the size of the private rental sector is the same size as 2016, but the population in that time, you don't have to turn on the news to understand that the immigration, people living longer, and lots of other factors mean that the population in the UK has exploded in that time. So that doesn't really add up. We've got less rental properties, more people that need them. And so what's happened is rents have been rising. We had a year or two ago where rents were up 10% in a year. We're currently at around 6.9% this year up, and that's going to carry on. Renters are going to get squeezed as the market gets smaller. Now, you will get some big companies that will come in and build some big tower blocks and stuff like that to take some of the pressure off. We're talking BlackRock, Lloyds, and various other companies like that. But they, ultimately, if they own a rental market, they will push rents up even faster than is happening right now. So who's giving us this data today? Well, it's RICS, who are the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And they know a thing or two about house prices and data. Pretty much every mortgage that you get has a RICS valuer surveyor that comes around and looks at the property to give a valuation back to the mortgage company. And they're saying that it really does look bad at the moment. So why is it so bad? Let's have a first look at that. Well, there's a few things that are making landlords quit. First off is something called Section 24. And so Section 24 is something that's been around for a while, but it's progressively got worse. And over the years, it means that you now get taxed on the gross rent of your rental income, and you can't deduct your mortgage payments from that. Now, you can deduct some improvements and repairs and stuff like that, but normally in most businesses, if you're a plumber, you'd be able to deduct your insurance, your petrol, all this kind of stuff. Landlords can't do that so much now. So that means if you own a property in your personal name, it's not very tax efficient. And that meant a lot of landlords quit due to that Section 24. That was introduced by the Conservatives, so it's not a Labour problem. Next is the Renters' Rights Bill. And so this isn't active yet, but we know it's going to be, don't we? We know it's going to be active by the end of this year, and that worries a lot of landlords. And landlords are massively concerned about one part of that bill where you can't use something called a Section 21 no-fault eviction. And that means that it's fairly easy to get your property back, or easier. It doesn't always work out, but it is easier. You can give someone 2 months notice for any reason and get your property back. Now, some landlords were using that in a very unethical way. In fact, the homeless minister was as well over the last few weeks. They gave their tenant a Section 21, relisted the property at a higher rent. That's what people were doing. So the government is saying, look, we shouldn't be allowing this. So they're looking to abolish that. But what that leaves a landlord with as the alternative, if they need to get their property back, is something called a Section 8. At the moment, they take an average of 6 months to get your property back. But with a huge increase in Section 21 gone, some people are saying this could take up to a year to get your property back. So that worries a landlord. If you're not getting paid rent, you might not be able to pay your mortgage then. It could be carnage. There's other things in that bill about big fines, about having to have pets. There's lots of things in that bill that worry landlords. So the Renters' Rights Bill is a concern. That's something that we've got to keep an eye on here. And that is meaning some landlords are leaving because of that, a big chunk of them. And the last one is EPCs, Energy Performance Certificates. Now, there's nothing in law on this at the moment. It's being talked about. But the government is saying you might have to spend 15 grand per property to get it to an EPC level C in order to be able to rent your property by 2028 and definitely by 2030. Now, that worries a lot of people because they just don't have that kind of money. And so that's pushing more landlords out the market. And all of these things just reduce the supply of properties. So how bad is it? Well, right now, the amount of properties that we've got is the same that are available for rent at the moment as April 2020. Now, you know what was happening right there. We were in a lockdown. So a lot of people in that period of time were basically not going to do viewings. Landlords, and they weren't leaving their properties. There wasn't a lot of movement in the market at that actual time. So the fact that that's the level of rental properties we've got at the moment is alarming and should worry a lot of people. Now, how does the government fix this? We need to build more properties. That's not happening, is it? You're seeing that constantly in the news. They're saying we're going to build 1.5 million properties. We're already behind on that. We've seen leaked emails from the government that said there's no chance that they're going to hit that target. We've got the big building firms saying we're not able to build at the moment because things like the interest rates are too high, the planning's too bad, the cost of the building materials are prohibitively expensive. It just doesn't stack up the numbers in order to build this stuff at the moment. So what will happen, according to RICS, who have done this survey, is they now believe that rents over the next few months towards the end of this year are going to go up at a very fast rate. That's not good. Now, what could happen, the government might look at this and say, we've had a 10% increase one year, and then back to back another 10% increase the next year. We need to put rent controls in, and that could become part of the Renters' Rights Bill before it becomes active. So when we can go and look at what happened in Scotland, they did that. The rental market shrunk even more. What you should be doing is supporting landlords sometimes. You're going to support either the small landlord to get the property up to a decent standard and make it so they can make some money on that, or you're going to have the big corporations. Either way, the government is going to help one of those parties. So why not help the smaller landlord that has the accountability, that does look after their property? They have to do electrical checks. They have to do gas safes. And if they don't, the Renters' Rights Bill gives you the option to fine them if they're not playing ball. But this is a worry, and I do think that you're going to see rents go up. I agree with this. I think if we've got such a lack of rental stock at the moment, you're going to see rents go up pretty quickly. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the fact that the amount of rental stock is at a low since April 20, when we were basically locked down, that is worrying to me? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do smash like and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, do grab a copy of Mortgage Secrets, How to Get the Best Mortgage Deal in 2025. 1,600 of you have grabbed that already. So I'm going to link that in the description. I'm going to link that in the first comment. Do also check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.